Today is Thursday, June 14th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On today's show, we have an important update about polling places on the move. We check in with Representative Will Crocker, and we have all the details on Flag Day in West Barnstable. First, a look at today's weather. Well, hello, summer. Sunshine and a few passing clouds today, a fresh breeze and warm temperatures, highs in the 70s to near 80. A perfect evening to plan a picnic dinner on the beach. Sunset, 8:17 p.m. But first, let's start with some news you can use. The Town of Barnstable Departments of Public Works and Planning and Development invite the community to a listening session on proposed roadway, streetscape, and intersection improvements in Hyannis's East End. The meeting will be held at 5:30 p.m. tonight, Thursday, June 14th, at the Barnstable Town Hall. The meeting is to provide interested individuals an opportunity to share their thoughts about roadway, streetscape, and intersection design in the following areas: Hyannis Main Street from Center Street to the Yarmouth Town Line, including the intersections of Main and Center Streets and Main Street, Lewis Bay Road. Old Colony Boulevard between Main Street and South Street, the intersection of South Street, Old Colony, and Ocean Street. The road and streetscape improvement project aims to improve the mobility of all roadway users, including pedestrians, improve access to the area, support existing businesses and new economic growth, and enhance the appearance of the area. The Town of Barnstable has a new police chief. Channel 18 was at the swearing-in last Friday, and here are some highlights.
I'm very pleased to be here today for the swearing-in of our new chief of police. I was just as happy last evening with the town council ratification of my recommendation for, at that time, Deputy Chief Sonnabend, soon to be Chief Sonnabend, and the unanimous support we received from our town council.
This is part of the job as town clerk, and I got to tell you, it's one of the best things I get to do. This is an important day when you take your oath of office and you swear your allegiance to the town and to the townspeople, and it's just a great day for all of us. So I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. I'm going to have you repeat after me, all right?
Okay.
I state your name.
I state my name.
You knew he was going to do that.
I, Matthew Sonnabend,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as the Chief of Police for the Town of Barnstable.
as the Chief of Police for the Town of Barnstable.
I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will never betray my badge,
that I will never betray my badge,
my integrity, my character, or the public trust.
my integrity, my character, or the public trust.
I will always have the courage
I will always have the courage
to uphold myself and others
to uphold myself and others
accountable for our actions.
accountable for our actions.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, Matthew Sonnabend,
Hereby accept the position
hereby accept the position
of Police Chief of the Town of Barnstable.
of Police Chief of the Town of Barnstable.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
I'm not here because I did anything special on my own. I just did my job and showed up every day. I got here because of all you people, the people I work with, the people in the community who are out there doing their jobs and doing what they need to do every day, which made it a lot easier for me to get my job done. And you're the ones that I really need to thank for allowing me to be here. Thank you to the town manager and the town council for having the confidence and the faith in me to do this job. But every day I'm going to be turning to you guys, and we're going to be doing this together every day. This isn't an arrival. This isn't a finality. A few people have asked me, "Oh, you finally made it. You're finally there." I'm not anywhere. This is just day one of another part of a journey, another chapter of the book that we have to write. You know, it's not me that's going to do it. It's going to be us, and I just want to appreciate it. I just hope moving forward that I can be the best chief that I can be for them and do what they need. And that's pretty much it. Enjoy your wonderful day, and thanks for coming.
In an effort to address school safety, the town of Barnstable is moving 3 public school voting precincts to new venues. Town clerk Ann Quirk filled us in all the details. Are you in precinct 1, 10, or 12? Well, your polling places will be moving very shortly for this next election. With us today, Town Clerk Ann Quirk.
Good morning.
Good morning. So polling places are on the move. We've got a good communication plan to get people to the right place. There's some new polling places for those 3 precincts. Let's start with precinct 1. Where was it and where's it going?
This initiative came about because the school committee asked us to remove ourselves from the school locations. And in an effort for the safety of the children, it was a good idea. And so we've been searching and searching. But we did find a location to move the Precinct 1 from the BWB school to another location in Precinct 1, which is the Zion Union Church, located at 805 Addicks Lane in Hyannis. It is a huge church with a large lobby, and the lobby is where we would set up for the elections. Rich French has been involved with this with us. Reverend Harris has been wonderful to work with. So it's one of those situations where not only are we taking care of the safety of the children, but we're also taking care of all the ADA compliance that we must have in order to move a precinct.
Right. And I don't think people really realize that, you know, the disruption to a school for that entire day, and then it happens, especially you have primaries in September and then the election in November. So moving this may be arduous, but there's a really good reason for it, is to keep the kids safe. You know, there's cars in and out all day on those polling places. And then we talk a little bit about ADA compliance. So that's precinct 1. We'll come back to the ADA in just a second, but
Sure.
10 and 12 are also moving.
Yes, they are.
And that's a tough one because there's not a lot of places in Marston's Mills that can hold the crowds of those 2 precincts.
Yes, and that was the hardest part. That really was. I have enlisted the help of town councilors and anybody and everybody and asked them to help us out with this. And it turns out that the Seventh-day Adventist Church has a brand new community center. And it's located on the grounds of the Seventh-day Adventist Church on Falmouth Road in Marston's Mills. And Marston's Mills is where 10 and 12 are, so it was a perfect location. It is a beautiful new building. It is completely separate from the church. And again, it's ADA compliant, and it is a great facility that can handle both precincts and plenty of parking.
Okay, so you didn't have to split up the precincts, because I'm from that precinct. I'm never quite sure if I'm 10 or 12 when I walk into the building, but I know they're both there, so splitting those up could be problematic for some of us millbillies.
Yes, it could. I'm one of those too, so I understand.
There will be a detail out there. I know that would be a concern with folks, is that that's a tough location in and out.
Yes, it is. Luckily, there is a side road. But we are going to have a police detail for the full day of elections, both the primary and the actual election. Okay. So it's just so people can get in and out with ease, because it's right on 28. I get it.
Right. So let's talk a little bit. So finding locations, obviously one to hold enough people for the polling machines and the workers and the people that come in to vote. But talk a little bit. We have a town expert for ADA, and you were out on site this week really looking for compliance.
Absolutely. We have our own ADA commission, and we also have a person on staff that is ADA compliant, is the compliance officer. She was out there with me. We have to make sure that the grade of the walkway is a certain height. And it's a gentle grade, and there are specifics that I don't know, but she certainly does. And then you have to there's several things. There's the parking spots. Do we have enough van parking areas? Do we have enough parking areas that have handicapped accessibility? That's a huge thing, and for us, this election, may not be as busy, but I know that we have another presidential coming up in 2 years, and that provides us with plenty of space for people to park. The other part of this that people don't know is that we have to set up the day before and we have to break down the day after. So we're really asking a lot of these folks that are being so wonderful to us to allow us to use their properties, you know, to get in and get out and clean it up and make sure everything's back to normal.
Right. So Precinct 1 is going to, where were they originally?
They were originally at the Barnstable, West Barnstable Elementary School
And
on
they're moving
6A.
to?
They're moving to 805 Addicks Lane, which is the Zion Union Church in Hyannis.
Okay. And then the precincts 10 and 12 in Marston's Mills are going from the Barnstable United, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Over to the Seventh-day Adventist Church on Route 28.
Correct. Into that
Okay.
community building that's right next to the church.
Okay. And we'll have more communication to make sure that everybody gets to the polling place that they need to get to.
Yes. On the day of election, we will have people posted at the old locations to make sure we're sending you to the right location. We will be sending out postcards to all voters in all 3 precincts, notifying them of the change. And we hope to have it in the newspaper, and we hope that this will run a few times so that people can be aware.
Right. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Ann. This is important that everybody gets to the polling place and the right one.
Yes.
And we keep our kids safe now, too. So
Absolutely.
those were the last 2 schools that we had
The last 2
for
public
polling
schools,
places.
yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
State Representative Will Crocker stopped by the studio for his monthly update from Beacon Hill and has accepted his first conference committee assignment. We're talking infrastructure and conference committee appointments with Will Crocker right here in the studio. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me once again.
So infrastructure has some things that have gone through conference committee. It looks like there's some votes have been done and perhaps maybe some money coming to Cape Cod.
Yeah, the last week the House passed the bond bill for DCAM, the Department of Capital Asset Management. So that what that means is that as far as the House is concerned, that programs for capital improvement projects, things like at Cape Cod Community College, the new science building, $41 million science building, can go through as far as the House is concerned. If anybody knows anything about what was going on at science at Cape Cod Community College, when that structure was built back in the early 1970s, they're using the same science building that they built. So that building right now is 40 years old. It has 40-year-old technology. You can't teach science classes or any kind of classes, whether it's science or an environmental approach, with a building that was built back in the early 1970s. So this is going to be able to teach kids to go to Cape Cod Community College environmental sciences and what they need to be able to, number one, maybe move on, transfer, go to another school, a 4-year college or whatever, or be able to get the tools that they need here to be able to have a job in the environmental aspect down here on the Cape. So we're glad to see that that has gone through the House. There will be some, there are other improvements to the courts, the Superior Court, the District Courts, the Family and Probate Court in Barnstable, also the District Courts in Falmouth and in Orleans. We'll also see some capital improvements to those buildings, which haven't seen, improvements in a long time.
Right. So when we talk about infrastructure and all of those things that go into it, how important is this to Cape Cod? I mean, we all pay taxes. Mm-hmm. We think that our buildings are just taken care of through those taxes, but that's not necessarily always the case.
Right. With a bond bill, this is outside the budget. The state will borrow money for those projects. So it's outside of the budget issue. So it won't affect anyone's in terms of their direct tax rate here, but there are things that are needed. Like I said, the science building is going to be able to help students here on Cape Cod get the tools that they need to either move on and go to another college perchance, or to be able to have the tools that they need to work here. So it all kind of trickles down environmentally, allows that student to be able to stay on Cape Cod, to work on Cape Cod, put their roots here in Cape Cod.
Excellent. And then the other one is congratulations are in order. You've got your first appointment to a conference committee.
Yeah, very unusual for a freshman lawmaker. It doesn't happen often. I have been appointed to the conference committee to work out the differences between the House version and the Senate version with regard to civics education. We just, within the last week or two, passed the civics education bill in the House. It had already been passed in the Senate. So now there has to have a conference committee of senators and representatives to be able to work out the differences so that we can go forward with a program of voluntary civics education in schools now. It's something that has kind of gone by the wayside, for a number of years now, but this is an opportunity to be able to have programs in schools now to teach about government.
Sure. So what are some of the points in that bill for civics education that you're looking to understand or have our citizens understand? What is it about civics education that is so important that it's been taken up at the State House?
Well, I think a lot of people just don't understand government and how their government works from the don't even want to use the term derogatory, but from the lowest level, from your local level to the state level, to the federal level. People just don't understand how government works, and I think that's the reason for a lot of disagreement and a lot of discord and a lot of anger. People just don't understand exactly how government works, and in some cases doesn't work, and they don't have that knowledge. And I think this will go a long way to help some of the younger members, kids who are still in school, learn just basically how government works.
Right. And when we also talk about civics, a little point for everyone that's there is that it doesn't necessarily always have to be on the high school level. It can be taught in lower levels as well, correct?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think everybody remembers Schoolhouse Rock and I'm Just a Bill, I'm Sitting Here on Capitol Hill. Everybody, with my age remembers that,
Right.
and we've kind of gotten away from that. I think people need to understand that government is, the basic form of government is to help you. It may take a long way of getting there, but the idea for government is to be able to help and protect people, and people need to understand how that specifically works.
Right. And as a former civics teacher,
yes,
how does that make you feel that this is your first appointment?
Again, it's great. I asked for it. I was able to be able to sit on the committee. I will be along with Senator Tran. Will be the two members of the minority party who will sit on the committee, and we want to be able to make sure that this is a bill that, again, both sides can agree on.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Will, for stopping by. I know your schedule's really busy. We'll see you again next July, 1 month from now, to wrap everything up.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Up next, we learn about today's Flag Day event and meet 2 new trucks at the West Barnstable Fire Department. Chief Maruka met us at the fire station and tells us more.
Flag Day is on June 14th. It's an annual holiday, and it celebrates the fact that the American flag is unique from those of many other nations. It represents, or I should say our flag represents, the fact that we are 50 sovereign states unified together for a common purpose, which is distinct and very different from the rest of the world and how their nations are organized and set up. So Flag Day here in West Barnstable has been an annual event for about 12 years. It is a partnership between the West Barnstable Civic Association, the Meeting House Farm, and the West Barnstable Fire District. The event this year will be on Flag Day, which is Thursday, June 14th at 6 o'clock p.m. at the Meeting House Farm. And the public is welcome to come. And if you have an old flag that needs to be disposed of, bring it to us. As part of Flag Day, we do a formal flag disposal ceremony where, following the U.S. Flag Code, we will burn old flags. And these are flags that are tattered, ripped, frayed, worn out, faded, for any reason need to be disposed of, and we'll take care of those. And if you can't bring your flag, if you can't make it, drop your flag off here at the West Barnstable Fire Station, and we'll take care of it for you. This year we have 2 new fire trucks here at the West Barnstable Fire Station. Although one is technically not a fire truck, it's our ambulance. And the other one is an engine, which is right here behind me. The ambulance came in to us just at the beginning of the year, and it's in service now. It was replacing a 10-year-old ambulance. In a station of our type and community, 8 to 10 years is about the life expectancy of an ambulance. Like everything else, they wear out. The ambulance is the busiest truck out of this station. It gets a lot of use. And so our new truck is roaring along on the streets of West Barnstable, and you probably see it. It's a nice truck, and we're very happy to have it. And we replaced a 16-year-old fire engine, which is actually a little young for replacement of a fire engine. Typically, fire engines go 20 to 25 years before they need replacement. But the truck that we had, we were having a lot of maintenance and rust problems with it. And the maintenance costs were escalating, and reliability issues started to escalate with it. So we decided that it was best to replace it rather than to keep pouring money into keeping it going. Folks are always on the move here at West Barnstable. Whether we like it or not, this is where people come to start their careers in the fire service. We have a large volunteer force. We have about 40 volunteer firefighters and EMTs in the organization. We only have 5 full-time career staff. And what happens is that the bigger departments around us are constantly stealing or poaching our volunteer staff from us and putting them into full-time positions around us. And this has been going on for 20 years. There's nothing new in it. But the pace of this has increased dramatically in the last 5 or 6 years, and it's hard to keep up. In the last year or so, we've lost about 14 people to our neighbors. And that's a lot of people to lose at once. It's a lot of talent. People get in here, they do the training, they do about 3 or 4 or 5 years with us, and then bing, Yarmouth hires them. Sandwich, the biggest poachers around, hire them. You know, Hyannis and Centerville and Barnstable hire them. You know, even Chatham and Truro have hired people from us. So it's a battle we fight. We just put on a new training class of new volunteers, started last month. We got 18 new people joining the organization, which is a big group for us to try and train at once. We're hoping that bigger number will make it harder for them to deplete us over time. But we always need volunteers. So if you live in the town of Barnstable, anywhere in the town of Barnstable, and you're interested in firefighting or emergency medical services, come on down and pick up an application and join the West Barnstable Fire Department. We got room for more volunteers all the time.
Here are 2 great community calendar events for kids. Aloha. Hey dads, hula on over to the Hyannis Youth and Community Center this Friday night for the 6th annual Father-Daughter Dance. The entrance fee includes a lei necklace for your child, photo opportunities, fun, food, snacks, and dancing with a live DJ. And giddy up, bike riders. Hyannis Youth and Community Center's Bike Rodeo is this Saturday, June 16th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the HYCC parking lot. What you can expect: 40 free helmets, bike giveaways, bike inspections by C Sports, appearances by the Barnstable Police Department and Hyannis Fire, games, and more. Tune in tomorrow for all the details from HYCC Program Coordinator George Noonan. Our quote today is in honor of Flag Day. We identify the flag with almost everything we hold dear on earth: peace, security, liberty, our family, our friends, our home. But when we look at our flag and behold it emblazoned with all our rights, we must remember that it is equally a symbol of our duties. Every glory that we associate with it is the result of duty done. Calvin Coolidge. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.